It's a very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Sphumelele Zondi. Tonight we find out about a project creating a tech hub in Johannesburg's Braamfontein area. Brothers for All is a group giving coding skills to township youth in Cape Town. We paid them a visit. We also have information on piracy in the Nigerian film industry. Our studio discussion is on the e-governance summit that took place in the last week. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. Now, earlier today, the SABC News Twitter account had a tweet with profanity on it. This happened due to some unauthorized person logging onto our account and posting the tweet. The SABC apologizes for the unfortunate mishap. Our online team has since jacked up our security with regard to our social media accounts to prevent this from happening again. Tech in Braam is what one part of the city centre will eventually become in Johannesburg. It's currently undergoing a renovation as the buildings in the area are being redesigned to be technology hubs. This will then create a space for tech creatives in the Johannesburg city centre. The Johannesburg city centre is getting a revamp. A huge part of it is to create an industry for jobs of the future. It all looks like rubble at the moment, but Wits University and the Joburg Centre for Software Development have big plans for this Braamfontein area. One half of Braamfontein has already gone through a regeneration project. Now Wits has bought a couple of buildings here, including the former Popular Inc. nightclub. The university is planning to turn this into the city's technology hub.
A part of the revitalization of Braamfontein is trying to create a technology innovation hub, a digital technology.
The area already has free limited Wi-Fi. There are a few tech startups housed in one of the buildings here.
We develop video games with the core focus of raising awareness on healthcare issues. Presently, the game that we're developing is raising awareness on breast cancer.
There are also tech internships and training programs that happen here too. And then there is this bunch. They're developing new authentically African videos.
It's a great idea. Since the world is moving into tech now, we can see that Braamfontein can be or will be the next Silicon Valley of South Africa.
I'm gaining experience, I'm gaining a lot of things that I didn't get when I was in university.
We are the quality assurance group. We test the applications of the programmers to make sure that they are of quality. Whatever app that they're developing, after developing it, we test it and make sure that it runs very perfectly.
Those in charge of creating this new tech space say it's because Johannesburg doesn't have a zone dedicated to the creation of new technologies. But they have a big worry. They feel South African investors don't realize that the future is in technology. This is because the country made its money from mining and thus struggle to see this economy of the future.
Many people don't realize the potential of digital technology and the digital economy. So in a place like Britain, they're forecasting that in the next 10 to 15 years, digital will be half the economy. It underpins almost everything that we do is now underpinned by digital. So companies that don't have digital in their name or digital in their business model are really becoming digital companies. So things like banks and mines and many other businesses now need digital.
But they're optimistic that once work here is done and once this part of the city centre has been revamped like the other side of Braamfontein and Maboneng, which is further downtown, investors will also come around. At the moment, they're looking for a name for this zone. A trendy sounding tech in Braam is one of those being thrown around. Let's go to Cape Town's Langa Township now, where we find a group called Brothers for All. They give coding skills to young people from townships in Cape Town. This is a highly valued skill that will assist people stay employed as we talk about jobs for the future. At the Brothers for All Centre in Langa Township, Cape Town, students are chatting outside as they wait for their next class. Their teacher is Sihle Shabalala. With each lot of students, he starts off with rudimentary computer lessons. Gradually, as they get better, they learn more complex coding, which makes it possible to create computer software, apps and websites. Shabalala spent nearly 11 years in prison. He was arrested for armed robbery when he was just 19 years old. After his release, Shabalala and another former inmate partnered with Brothers for All and began coding lessons to reach out to at-risk youth in townships and poor communities around Cape Town.
I always tell people this, that we are in the business of selling hope, even though that the price tag is free, but we sell hope to the people that have lost hope. We work with high school dropouts, teenage mothers, unemployed youth, and employed youth, and also ex-offenders and offenders that we teach coding.
Gilbert Dukuzumu Remy is a volunteer who works with Brothers for All. He is an IT graduate who emigrated to South Africa from Rwanda.
I've done computer science when I was in my country. I did it from 2012 to 2015. I didn't get a job because there is a problem of job, no job creation. I decided to come in South Africa. By intervention of one of my friends, he gave me a ring to Brothers for All. Then when I came there, I meet, this is my place to be, because I know how to code. I did coding. Then I've decided to help them as a volunteer.
Those who attend coding classes here say they have not only gained valuable new skills, but the classes also keep them away from more negative activities.
Yeah, it does help me a lot because in Kailicha there's a lot of gangsters there. Every time when you're going outside, there's a lot of guys sitting on the corners, smoking, and every time, like when you come across them, you just get scared of them. So computer, this programming, it helps me a lot because most of the time I spend my time here programming and it keeps me out of bad like minds.
Recently, Brothers for All began the first coding program at a prison just outside Cape Town.
Now the response has been quite amazing because now these are type of people that have never thought that they would do something magnificent with their lives. But because now they are given the opportunity, they then see now something different and a light at the end of the tunnel.
The Brothers for All initiative is giving young people from Cape Town's poorest communities the opportunity to turn their lives around. The Nigerian film industry is facing a huge piracy problem. Nollywood films are sold illegally in places as far as China.
A lot of good comes from tech development, but technology has also given us some negatives as well. Computers have resulted in illegal sharing, copying and selling of Nigerian films. Some fraudulently copied works end up being sold in places as far as Asia.
A producer was in China. He was in China and he said he saw our movie on, they call it 20 in 1, that you have 20 movies in one DVD in China, and he saw Osofia speaking China, that is, it's been dubbed into Chinese language.
And of course, piracy takes a lot of money out of the pockets of Nollywood filmmakers and the country's creative industries.
I require this case wrapped up before the 1st of October, Independence Day.
Because of technology that we are able to see films like October 1, which is a depiction of Nigeria at independence. But it's because of technology again that this film has ended up being sold on the streets even before its official cinema release date. As expected, the director isn't happy and says Nigerians seem to think it's okay to do this.
The way it's being done here, it's alarming. You know, when your film gets pirated and people flashes it in your face and nobody is doing anything, and when you even complain they want to beat you up like there's no law in the land. All my film has been pirated, but the most painful one is October 1, which has not even been released on DVD, because before they will wait for the film to be released, you know, then they pick on it, but now they don't even wait. They just find a way to get a copy, and before you know it, the film is everywhere.
The Nigerian Copyright Commission says it's trying to fight the problem.
We have actually reduced the rate of piracy. We are not boasting of trying to eliminate or eradicate piracy in this society, but we have done a lot in terms of trying to limit the impact of piracy, especially on the Nigerian economy.
When Nollywood films have been printed illegally to DVD, and once they are on the streets, they are then sold by about 14 rands each. This hugely undercuts movie houses.
Let's take a look at what's been happening in the rest of the global tech space.
Huawei created a buzz in the local tech space this week with the South African launch of its flagship of the Mate series, Huawei Mate S smartphone. The company said that this new handset has found a way to utilize people's strongest sense, that of touch, to take functionality and creativity to the next level. Now off to the US of A. YouTube announced the use of virtual reality on their Android applications on Thursday. The YouTube app now supports virtual reality video. The company says that the format will give viewers a more realistic 360-degree perspective of films.
Good morning, everyone.
Meanwhile, in India, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced that startups have the potential to change the landscape of urban India, and Microsoft wants to be a part of it.
And one of the things that's exciting to me is the kind of startups that can change the landscape of urban India. So we are starting a special program as part of the Prime Minister's Smart Cities, the Chief Minister's Smart City initiatives, to say how do we give startups that are going after all these urban issues of education, of health, logistics, energy, and give them a platform.
Nadella spoke at Microsoft's Future Unleashed event in Western Mumbai City on Thursday.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. After the break, we'll chat about e-governance. MEC Barbara Creasy is already in studio for that. Stay with us. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. Now, government is not alone in ensuring that South Africans are given the right equipment to gain important skills. Microsoft founder Bill Gates and his wife have donated a computer library to an impoverished Northern Cape community in South Africa's Northern Cape province. This is through their foundation. Reginald Vidboy visited the area.
Rietfontein is home to a small sand community. They settled on this land after the former apartheid government evicted them from the land of their birth, now the Galagadi National Transfrontier Park. Their story is one of illiteracy, unemployment and poor services. The computer library could be a game changer.
I come to do research for my homework and I sometimes play games on it.
The equipment is part of a 32 million rand project run by the American philanthropist couple Bill and Melinda Gates. It will be rolled out to 27 libraries across the country.
Most of us saw tablets and computers for the first time.
Computer training will also be provided at the library.
South Africa's e-government Gauteng department recently wrapped up its ICT summit in Johannesburg. The e-government program is spearheaded by the newly formed Department of E-Government led by MEC Barbara Creasy. She joins us in studio tonight. Hello and thank you for being a part of our network, MEC.
Good evening.
MEC, what resulted in this new Department of e-Government?
Well, I think that across the globe, more and more governments are starting to develop e-government services. It obviously makes it easier for citizens to interact with government. They can receive government services in the comfort of their own homes or in Tusong centres. We have an increasing number of electronic government services, and we thought it was important to develop a department that would coordinate all the work that we're doing across government, give us better value for money, but also ensure that we've got interoperability and compatibility in all of our operating systems.
And in the last week you held a summit as well.
Yes, we're not the first government department to tread this path. Obviously there's a lot of international experience we can learn from. We had exciting speakers from Singapore, from Kenya, the former Prime Minister of Georgia sharing their experiences with us. We also had very interesting inputs from some of our national departments. I think we know that SARS, Home Affairs have been very innovative in this area, and of course the private sector was there sharing all of the innovations that they are involved in.
Good ideas coming from the countries that you invited?
Yes, I think very exciting. I think the key thing that we learned is that this really is all about government reform. So you have to make sure you get your systems and your business processes right, and of course the technology then is a secondary issue.
So you're saying it's not about the technology just makes it easier?
Well, I think it's about putting citizens first and saying what is it that citizens want, how do they want to interact with their government, and how will electronic services achieve what the Singaporeans said to us is the ultimate, which is that citizens shouldn't feel their government, they should just get services.
Brilliant. Now, there's the Gauteng Broadband Network. What is that?
Well, we are busy building a broadband network. We are connecting up all of our government institutions over the next 3.5 years. We've already built the core 8 sites. We've already connected 263 schools, clinics, decentralized government offices. And I think really the idea is, first of all, that government to government business should be quicker and more effective. We need to move from voice to digital communication. It's obviously cheaper, it's faster. We also are introducing a whole range of electronic applications already. You've seen MEC Lesufi and his smart schools. We ourselves are pioneering work around e-invoicing, e-tendering, and also registration of suppliers online. My colleague, the MEC for Health, wants to digitize patient files to do away with long waiting times. And I think that there are other exciting innovations that housing and transport are considering.
MEC, how easy is it to coordinate all of that? Because you're talking about 263 schools here, and then there are clinics, there are hospitals there, and at the same time you have staff that in all those places that need to use these new methods of doing things. How easy is it to coordinate?
Well, it's obviously not easy, because you've got to make sure that all of your systems talk to each other. I think different departments are investing a lot of money in electronic services. We want to make sure there's interoperability. But of course, you point to the important issue, which is the human factor, because we have to make sure that our staff can use new technology. We also have to make sure that our citizens are aware that they can access services online, and of course, importantly, and I think this is where the broadband network is very important, because we are now taking high-speed connectivity into communities that historically would not have had access to that. So township communities that might have suffered in the past from the digital divide will now, through the connection of schools and hospitals, also have access to 21st century technology.
You're talking about these services as if anyone in the township can walk into the center, maybe to the school and the clinic, and use them. Can they use them in the school, or is it just for the schools and just for the staff in the clinics?
Well, I think the first thing that we are doing is we are connecting up the Tusong centers so that citizens can access free online services if they don't have their own smart devices. We are looking at the kinds of innovations they've done in countries like Portugal, in Kenya. Some of these countries use schools after hours for citizens to access e-services. These are innovations that we are busy considering at the moment, because unless citizens can access these services directly, we're not going to be doing our job.
All right, MEC Babakrisi, thank you very much for joining us. Right, MEC Babakrisi there is talking to us about e-governance, and she is the MEC for Finance and e-governance in the Gauteng, in Gauteng province rather. Now this week we caught up with singer Monique Bingham, who told us what her favorite piece of technology is.
If your number, get back the keys, right down the middle, how it should be. Kiss on.
Hi, I'm Monique Bingham, and the gadget that I cannot live without is my iPad. I'm running my whole label from my iPad, my whole life, so I need that thing.
What will it cost you? I want to work it out. I want to work it out.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Now let's see what some people have been sharing in social media. ANC KZN has been dominating social media. This as the ANC in the province has elected Sihle Zikalala as its new chairperson. Many have been using Twitter to update us on what's been happening in Pietermaritzburg. The Telkom knockout has been another major chatting point. There were two derbies. Chiefs beat Soweto rivals Orlando Pirates in sudden death penalties to end up in the final. In the Tshwane derby, Sundowns beat SuperSport United to play Kaizer Chiefs. And some have been focusing on the more than 100 University of Johannesburg and WITS students who were arrested for protesting on Friday. They were accused of contravening a court order obtained by the University of Johannesburg. They've since been released. All right, that's it. That's all we have for you. We leave you with a video of a humanoid robot riding a Yamaha motorcycle. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. From Ms. Phumelele Zondi and the rest of the team, have a good one.